Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CYL podcast, the podcast where we challenge your limits. I'm your host, Jay, and today I'm joined by my co host, Miracle.
Well gone.
And we have a very, very special guest, Leon.
Thanks for having me on.
How you doing, Leon?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, good. Really excited about this.
Yeah.
It was during the week that I found out that I was going to be coming on, so I was really happy to find out, and I'm happy to be here.
We're happy you're here.
We're
Thanks so
very
much.
happy to have you. As you guys might know, Leon is also a podcaster.
Yeah.
He does the Black and Irish podcast.
Yeah. Are you asking me or?
No, I'm just saying, like,
Alright, no worries.
so that the audience knows.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So, all right. I'm first of all gonna ask you, how's your week?
My week. Wow. My week's been good. It's been grand. I'm trying to think of what I've done this week so far. At the weekend, I saw my family, which was nice. It's been a lot of preparation work as well. I'm flying to Brussels tomorrow. So it's been a bit hectic, but it's good. And I'm part of an organisation that ran a number of voter registration drives.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really important that people are registered to vote. So we ran 31 registration centres around the country yesterday across 11 counties. So yeah, it's been busy. It's been busy, but it's been good. It's been good.
I always see you on Instagram. You're always traveling.
Yeah.
you
Always posting. And yeah, could you just tell us a little bit about the what you do?
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
when you travel?
Yeah, so there's a couple of reasons why I travel. So I run a couple of organisations now. I run Black and Irish, which works across the island of Ireland to improve the quality of life for Black and mixed race people here. I also run National Voter Registration Day, which is an organisation that's focused on getting people registered to vote. And then I'd be like an advocate across a number of other areas as well. So primarily human rights, making sure that people are treated with respect and dignity. So my travelling now at the moment it has been to the European Parliament over the last couple of visits.
Okay.
So I was in Belgium a couple of weeks ago. I was in France, in Strasbourg, a week ago. That was at the European Parliament in Strasbourg, because there's two locations for the European Parliament, one in Brussels and one in Strasbourg.
Yeah.
And then I'm back to Brussels now tomorrow.
Hey.
So when I'm going, I'm meeting with primarily organisations or the Parliament or other people in similar lines of work to what I do. So I usually meet with an organisation called ECRA, which is the European Council for Refugees and Exiles, to talk about what life is like for refugees, how refugees are being treated in Europe, various pieces like that. I do a lot of work around kind of advocating or highlighting the Black and Irish identity while I'm abroad, and highlighting things like, not only like racism and discrimination, but also like the creativity that's coming from Ireland as well, and coming from the Black and Irish scene as well. So I'd speak to my counterparts in like Scotland or Italy or the UK about the Black and Irish creative scene and what's kind of coming from it at the moment, and looking to see if we can build kind of relationships or collaboration opportunities and stuff like that as well. So yeah, that's a little bit about my work.
Yeah.
I hope that answers your
it
question,
does.
yeah.
It does.
A busy man.
It's very busy. Damn.
We try.
Gotta keep busy out there. And just a little bit about yourself, like Leon as a person.
Oh yeah. I sometimes can forget that I'm also a human being that has his own interests and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm Leon. I'm from Tallaght. Went to St. Mark's, which is the same school as Jude, who works with me in production. So yeah, like I had a grand time growing up with a big family. I'm mixed, so my mom is from Ireland, my dad is from Senegal.
Okay.
So yeah, like life is grand. I studied psychology in Maynooth University, and
Cool.
I've been working in Black and Irish ever since. You see how I've found my way back to the work that I do rather than
Yeah.
talking. Yeah, so I'm engaged.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get married. so
Very.
there's people that love me.
Yeah.
Just to highlight that.
Congratulations,
Nah, thank you,
man.
thank you.
Congrats.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a little bit about me. I recently found out that I have ADHD. Recently got diagnosed. And that's something that I've been kind of working with. I knew I had it my entire life, but I only went through the kind of formal diagnosis
Yeah.
process there recently. But yeah, I'm a guy that I love football, love Manchester United, love mixed martial arts.
Just
Seeing some reactions in the background
just to
there.
troubleshoot. Your top 3 footballers, like if they were here, who would you like to meet?
Who would I like to meet? Oh God, I think naturally like Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi would be the two because they're
Yo,
Goats.
the two that have been like goats for the last few years.
Yeah.
Trying to think then another footballer that I like. I really like. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'll go to a Man United player. Marcus Rashford. I'd like to meet Marcus Rashford. I think he's a cool guy. I know he's had his troubles and stuff like that. Off the pitch with like racism and stuff like that, and also people saying that the work that he does kind of like where he gives like a lot of like meals to kids and stuff like that in schools. And people say that can detract from his football, but I don't think so. I think his work on and off the pitch is incredible.
Yeah.
And I just think he's an all-around
Yeah.
great guy. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think I'd really like to meet him as well at some point.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I
cool.
appreciate that. Leon,
Yeah.
thank you for taking time out of your busy day and busy schedule to come on to the podcast and chat with us.
Of course. I always have time for you boys.
Hey, special ones, aren't So, you mentioned you have ADHD. Can you give us the definition of ADHD?
Yeah, so ADHD is it stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactive Disorder.
Okay.
It ultimately boils down to two main things: your attention and your hyperactivity. So that can you can there's I suppose different types. There's 3 kind of main types, which is around your attention, around your hyperactivity, or combined type, which is both. I have combined type
Alright,
ADHD,
alright.
so that's something that makes me struggle with essentially both my attention, ability to keep focus, ability to kind of start projects and stuff like that. I can go into more detail in a moment. I'm just giving an overview. And hyperactivity, so like impulsivity to do things, not really thinking things through, jumping in before really thinking about things, having bouts of kind of hyperactivity and energy, but then on the other side then having like kind of lows and stuff like that. And that like there's a lot more to it which I'm happy to talk about, but that's an overview of it. It's quite prominent in my family. I have a number of family members that live with it. So I was my mum had me when she was quite young. So I don't think she was aware or that even ADHD was really being discussed at the time when I was quite young. It was just like you were a bad kid or you weren't able to sit down and relax in class. You had to be talking or you had to be fidgeting with something. So as I grew up and as my man grew up and as my family started to grow as well, like new family members started facing symptoms that were a little bit more severe than mine or maybe a little bit less severe. But as they went through testing and stuff like that, it was discovered that they all had ADHD. But at this point, I was growing up. I'd finished school. I was in college, and like I suppose a number of my family members knew they had it, and I knew I had it as well, because when they were being when the issues they presented with were being described back to them and being described as ADHD, it was the same as what I was going through, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like that for me was frustrating, because I was like, right, well, if I had this I suppose if it had been identified from when I was younger, I may have been able to cope with things a little bit better. I may have been able to push myself a bit more. And it's like I can talk a little bit about it more in terms of how it impacted me. I'm just trying to highlight what it is at the moment. But yeah, ultimately, like, I knew a number of members of my family had it. I knew I had it from a young age, but I was only able to address it when I was older. Going public to get assessed was going to take too long, and I thought about it a couple of years about going to get assessed, but you know, when I was talking about getting assessed, they were like, it would be years, you know. So I was like, right, it got to the point now this year where I just wanted to go privately and you know, have it identified so that I could have that peace of mind, so that like essentially it could vindicate a lot of you know, my life up until now.
That's very interesting, boss man. When you were diagnosed officially, how did you cope with the news? Because you said you sort of knew, but you wanted that clarification.
Yeah.
So how did you cope with the clarification?
So the clarification was good and bad. It was good in that it confirmed what I knew to be true. It for me vindicated a lot of things that I struggled with throughout kind of college primarily, and I'm happy to talk about that a little bit more if you want. But it was able to show me that there was stuff that I'd gone through, and that my mind essentially had done. You know, even though I know it's me, but like I knew why I was thinking in certain ways. I knew why I acted in certain ways. I knew why I said certain things. I knew why I didn't do certain things. That was really important for me. It was tough in that I had to grieve a little bit for things that I had to go through without fully understanding my mind and my brain and how it works. You know, ADHD is something that, you know, you can know all about it, but ultimately it's still kind of difficult to live with. You know, it can stop executive function in terms of, you know, you need to do something, but you can't bring yourself to do it. You procrastinate, or you avoid, or you can get overwhelmed, and various other things like that. So yeah, like for me, that was it was tough, because I had to look back on all of those things and think like, damn, if only I had gotten the right kind of support at that time, I wouldn't have had to deal with certain things. But I'm very, you know, again, you know, I had the conversation with my mum, you know, and we had a very open conversation about it, and I think that remedied and healed a lot of what I was feeling, you know. So yeah, I was also, when I got assessed, I had a couple of other things happen in my life that were, I had a friend pass away and stuff like that. So that was really, it really hit me at that time. You know, it really knocked me off my stride. And for, I'd say about a month, I was really out of sorts. I was really like, you know, I was really low. I was struggling to get, you know, around to doing things pretty much for the entire month of February up until the start of March. When I met you guys, actually. You know, I was in a bit of a, I was just not in the best space, you know, but I was able to slowly but surely bring myself out of that. And I think that was the main thing.
Well, I'm very, very proud of your story.
Thank you.
Because you're honestly such an inspirational guy as a person, and I'm glad that you could share your what you went through with your ADHD. And there is something that we've been dying to ask. When you first met us, and we told you about the podcast.
Yeah.
What made you wanted to help us with, you know, help us like guiding us towards the showing us the way?
So, I met the two of you at Reme on a Lemmermen's memorial service and the launch of Roscroft, which I'm now on the advisory board for. And when I saw the two of you at that, I saw the poetry that you'd written about her. I saw just how much Reme meant to you and stuff like that. And I initially wanted to speak to you from Black and Irish point of view, just to find out what Black and Irish could do more, to make sure that we're encompassing everyone in the community. And that on that night, you told me that you are interested in doing a podcast. Like I was like, I do a podcast as well. This is so cool. I'd love to talk to you more about that. So we set up time to meet, and we met in the square. We met in Zambreros, and that was cool. I was just really inspired by your stories. I thought the two of you were the coolest guys I'd ever met. In terms of your approach to life, how you just really like glide through things. Do you know what I mean? Like, and how you take everything. So, like, I think you take everything so well. And I was really inspired by it, and you were telling me that you had started a podcast and stuff like that, and that I know what it's like to run a podcast. I obviously with the Black and Irish podcast with RTE, so like I know how important roles are, and when you see people doing all of the jobs, you just know that it's going to be something that even if you do pull it off, it's going to be really stressful. It's going to be really annoying. So I was like, maybe I could lend some of my expertise here, and thankfully he's agreed to let me help you, because I feel like you are going to be superstars anyways. Do you know what I mean, in terms of what you are doing with or without me? But I just I was really inspired by you. I really wanted to help in any way that I could, and ultimately, like, it was in Zambreros that I said, all right, well, let me see what I can do, because you were talking about finding studios and stuff like that, and that's when we called Sam. who was on the other side of the camera right now. We called Sam on the same day. Thankfully I knew Sam. I didn't know I was calling Sam until I was like, wait, is this Sam? He was like, yeah, it's Sam. I was like, oh. So it was I was like, Sam, bro, why did you just say it was Sam? Do you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, like, and I don't know, like, I'd worked with Sam a lot in the past, through kind of different avenues, and I knew that he was a good person to bring you to as well. He had the space, so for me it was a no-brainer, really. Like, I met you, I thought you were really inspirational characters. I love working with A players. It's something that I talk about. I think when you meet people who are incredible at what they do, you want to work with them, and that's why. And I see you as A players. I hope you would see me as an A player, and I want to work with as many A players as I see.
Of course,
in terms of the other people that we work with, in terms of Sam and Jude, I see them as A players as well. I see them as people that they want to get shit done. And I know we're recording this, and the minute that this podcast is ending, our first episode is going live. So it's really it's exciting,
It is.
But yeah, that's the reason why I wanted to work with you. I found these inspirational. I can't tell you the amount of time I came off calls just being like, wow, I'm so lucky. Do you know what I mean, to be working with these guys. So yeah, thank you for bringing me on.
It's a blessing. I think the night that we met you was meant to be. Honestly.
Yeah,
I think so too.
Yeah.
Because I remember that night it was snowing.
Yeah.
It was snowing.
Heavy.
Hella snowing.
It was snowing like crazy. I remember having an argument with my mom because I was supposed to help her with something, but I I totally forgot that 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 day was the memorial.
Yeah.
So I said to my mom, I am going to this memorial, even if hurricane comes, I must be at that memorial.
Yeah.
And
Today's the day.
we ended up going back and forth.
Yeah.
Then eventually, I left the house, but the snow was so thick that I had to go the long way to get to my usual bus stop into town.
Right. Okay.
And I ended up pulling so many skid marks on the road. Man, it was just like
Oh man.
it's like I couldn't go my usual top speed because that would be
Yeah. It'd be too
Yeah.
dangerous. Too reckless.
It was
Yeah.
way too
Yeah.
icy.
everyone would have been getting claims off me that day. No, but yeah, I'm glad I came.
Yeah.
I'm glad I met you, and I'm glad we're here shooting episode 4 of season 2.
Absolutely.
Episode- yeah,
Yeah.
we've come a long way. But
You have.
Leon has been honestly inspirational, and we would love to keep on working with you. Of course.
Of course.
Like,
It's your decision.
I know,
I
but
mean, I'm here. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. You know. No, I think the concept of what you are trying to do is really inspirational. You know, like I've seen many people who have had to face kind of similar challenges to you in terms of like family members and stuff like that. And you know, I think what you're trying to do in terms of helping people to identify limitations that they may have, but you know, always be that solution focused type person where you're saying, I'm going to overcome them, I'm going to challenge, you know, my limits and stuff like that. I'm really going to I'm going to challenge these things. I'm not going to allow them to stop me, you know. And that's why, you know, I wanted to help out and wanted to come on. Like I'm someone who does have challenges, and like I have my limitations, but I work to challenge them, you know. Do you know what I mean? And this is the type of stuff that I think more people in the world need to hear.
speaking of limitations, first of all, I'm gonna ask about the Black and Irish podcast.
Yeah.
What were some of the limitations you faced with, you know, starting up the podcast and all that?
Yeah. So God, some of the limitations that we faced, we started in 2020, right? So we were in the height of lockdown. So
Yeah.
the first 2 seasons of what we did was in our homes. So it was like remotely. I was on my laptop. I had had like ear sets in. I was calling into RTE. The guest was calling into RTE, and we were having a conversation through the channels in RTE and stuff like that. Right. So that was the first thing. It's always more difficult to have a podcast episode when you're not in the same room as each other.
Yeah.
And then the fact that like I'd never done a podcast before. Sorry, I had been on podcasts, or had I? No, I had actually never been on the first episode. The first podcast I was ever on, I was the host of.
Whoa,
You know, so that's something that, you know, you have to learn very quickly, you know, and especially when you're doing it with the national broadcaster, it's going to be pushed out to a very large audience. So you need to you need to learn quickly. I think some of the other challenges then were like finding people who were willing to have conversations about kind of very difficult topics, and understanding that, you know, when you're talking about this stuff, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a conversation where you're walking away going, no, actually, sorry, that's a lie. The conversations were uplifting, but you're touching on very heavy topics. So that can make you feel, you know, sad and down, you know, when you're talking to people about their experiences of racism or experiences of discrimination or whatever else. But it's also very uplifting to see the resilience in people that we have in our community, in the Black and Irish community, and you are a prime example of that. You know, people who are ready to say, I'm not going to let it stop me, and I'm going to do what I want to do, and that's it. You know, and that's what we need to, I think, recognize is ingrained into our community, is that resilience, that never say die attitude. So those are some of the challenges that I face, but those are some of the limitations that we face, but we challenge them consistently. We had sound problems on some of my episodes. Sometimes we forgot to press record. But we had situations where you know, the sound quality wasn't great in the room that I was recording in, so they were like, Leon, put a blanket over your head. You know, just to dampen the sound, to make it sound a bit better for the mic. So I was recording a full episode for RTE underneath a blanket. Do you know what I mean? And I had a blanket over my head and I was talking in, like, do you know what I mean? My girlfriend would, you know, at the time, because she's my fiance now, you know, but my Katie would come home and she'd see me underneath a blanket. She'd be like, "What are you doing?" Like, she was a essential worker at the time, so she had to still go in. So so like it's just mad looking back and thinking about the experiences that we've had and stuff like that, you know, and how we've overcome them.
We've definitely come a long way since 2020.
I mean,
absolutely.
2020 was lockdown. Those were dark times.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to see that you were actually doing a podcast honestly just makes me and Miracle just want to push harder with, you know, with what we're doing here.
Yeah. I think a lot of people can look back at the pandemic and think, oh, like, you know, I wish I had done this and I wish I had done that. And like, I think the best time to start a thing was the first time that you had the idea. The second best time to start is right now, you know? So I think people have ideas, they just need to kind of go and do them and try their best at it. There might be times where they suck. There was definitely times where I've sucked at things. Pause. But like, there's been times where I have been very poor at things. And I've had to improve, or I've had to realise, actually, I'm just not really good at this, and probably shouldn't keep pursuing this, or get better. That's kind of the type of person that I am. But I think people need to not be so hard on themselves as well, and recognise that if you haven't been doing the thing that you really want to do, that's okay, and that you can just I suppose try and build in the time, or try and build in the space to be able to do that thing that you really want to do, because life is very short. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you know, when I think of like friends that I've had and stuff like that, you know, who aren't here anymore, I just think, you know, just do what you love doing, and that's you know, I love doing this, I love working with you, you know, and that's something that I hope I can keep doing for a really long time, you know.
Yes. That was really inspiring.
Thank you.
I just needed a second to like,
let it
to let it digest. Let it cook.
You have to let it percolate a little bit, you know what I mean?
Let it sizzle and sizzle, you know. Hey, Leon, so tell us, how has the podcast ADHD Black and Irish writing a book, because you're also a co-author. We forgot to mention that.
Oh yeah.
How has all of that changed your life to form who you are today?
God, yeah. I think I'm a very different person to who I was when I was in school. I hope Jude doesn't remember me. I'm seeing him nodding over there. But in school I was a little bit different in that I didn't really take things seriously. I didn't really push myself in any kind of major direction. But now I think realising who I am and what I want to do, and discovering my purpose as well. Like discovering what, like I really want to help people. I want to change people's lives for the better, you know, and that's kind of something that is at the basis of what I want to do. Doing all of these things, like I think ADHD has been nearly like a superpower for me. Do you know what I mean? And that it allows me to. All right, sorry. So it can sometimes detract from me, in that it can inhibit me from doing things when I know I need to do them. But there's ways around that. There's ways that I can identify the problem and overcome it. It's very handy in that it also allows me to hyperfixate on things. It allows me to just zone in on one thing and say, I wrote the book in 3 weeks. Do you know what I mean? I had a year to write it.
That's a record.
I was supposed to write it in a year.
Okay.
And I'd done the interviews for the people that were going to be in the book. But the actual writing of it itself, I sat down and just did chapter after chapter after chapter for 3 weeks.
Okay.
You know? And that was because my publisher was like, you need to have this book by next week, you know. So like that's when you realize you're like, oh damn. So yeah, like when I have deadlines, I feel like I'm able to get a lot accomplished very quickly. You know, and it's about finding tools to help me. You know, like I use like a thing called the Pomodoro technique. These are all ways that I challenge my limits. These are all ways that I overcome the things that affect me. So a thing called the Pomodoro technique, which is I work for 25 minutes and then I take a 5-minute break. I work for 25, and like now when I'm working, I'm like, I've got the music on in my ears, like I use a thing called Brain FM. It really helps me to kind of like just zone in on my work and do deep work. And then those 5 minutes, bro, I do not do a tap of work. I do like I play loads of chess, various things like that. There's some days where I need to do like a little bit more of a reward structure because my brain is just not allowing me to do the deep work. So I do a thing where I'll play a game of Fortnite, and then I'll go and then I'll do a task. So I'll write down every task I need to do, and I'll play a game of Fortnite, and then when I am killed in the game, I'll see how many things I can scratch off the list. Do you know what I mean? In between when I die and the next game. Right, so
that is quick.
I swear, you know that email that you're putting off, that thing that you're saying, oh, I should respond to that, or I won't. Do you know what I mean? All of a sudden now I'm replying to 4 or 5 emails in the space of that time. All of a sudden I'm getting back to messages that I've been just putting that I like. It's a simple message, I can write back to it, but I'm looking at it and I'm just avoiding it, or I'm just procrastinating it, or whatever it is, you know. So like these are things that you need to find to just help you cope with stuff. Like I cannot tell you like, do you know when you find something boring with ADHD, that's like it's like 10x. Like it's like you'd rather pull your teeth than doing this, right? For example, I hate shopping. Like I hate going into Aldi or Lidl or anything like that. It is like, and I don't just mean like I don't like it, I mean like it is the worst thing. Like I literally would rather pull my teeth out like than go in and do it. So I need to find ways to make it fun. So that's whenever I go into Aldi, I just go to the middle aisle. Do you know what I mean? And I just go to, I call it the everything aisle. Do you know the aisle that has everything on it? Do you know what I mean? All that mad stuff, you know? So I go and I just mess around there while Katie does the shop and stuff like that. No, I'm only asking. Like, obviously I'll help her, like, you know, but certain things like, you know, chores, and like, it's not about just doing them. It's about building it up in your mind to go and do them. Do you know what I mean? When something is boring, when you don't want to do something, it's like, it's a nightmare. So you need to find ways to try and trick yourself into doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like you can like with ADHD, you can forget to do a lot of things for yourself. You can struggle to take care of yourself at times. It's important that you do those things though. So it's about building routine, really. Like building you know, and then there's the paying attention to things, there's the building yourself up to do things and like not procrastinating and stuff, and then there's the like impulsivity, like, do you know what I mean? Like like me and my partner fought because I bought a car. like
Okay.
like without properly like engaging with her.
Yeah,
I kind of texted her, I was like, here, listen, I'm gonna buy a car, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I went out and got one,
Just
like, do you know what I mean?
bought it, yeah.
Like so that for me was, I'd gotten a new job, I was starting to earn a little bit more money, and rather than sitting down and thinking, okay, what am I gonna do, how am I gonna make the best financial decision, I didn't do that. I made a poor decision, and I went out and got a car on a whim, you know, and that is something that you know, can be dangerous. You can do things impulsively that go against what you really should do when you think about it, you know. So it's about finding ways to, and like I do like a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy, like CBT and stuff like that, to kind of help me. And like, when you impulses come from getting an idea about something and how cool that might be, and oh my god, like, wouldn't it be so great? And it's you're building a story in your mind about how good something will be, and then you act on impulse. And like, for me, for example, like example would be getting a chipper. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm with Yams Fitness. I don't know if you've ever seen that guy. That guy is bolo, like, he's wham.
Yo, I've
he's
seen
so
him.
strong, like, do you know what I mean? And
Yo.
having him as your fitness instructor is scary, like, do you know what I mean? 'Cause he's like, you know, you wanna be on your thing, like, do you know what I mean? But you know, I'd get a thing in my mind where I'd be like, oh, chipper would be lovely. Oh my god, I should get it. Like, oh, I can get like this in the chipper, and I can get that. And I'm right in my story. I'm building a mind in my mind. I'm building a story that's making me want to get it quicker. And then before I know it, I'm sitting and there's a chipper in front of me. And I'm like, damn. Do you know what I mean?
You're like,
Yam's gonna be mad at this.
how did I get here?
Exactly. So it's about kind of like, it's about kind of taking the color out of the story in your mind and kind of bringing it back down and letting the emotions kind of run their course for like 90 seconds, and then, okay, actually no, I don't need one. I can eat healthier, like, do you know what I mean? And that's something that I've been trying to do. And obviously that's not just with, you know, food or health, and like, it's across your whole life that you can do things impulsively for. So yeah, I think those are some of the ways that I kind of challenge what I'm dealing with. Yeah.
I'm a bit of an impulse guy myself, because today, I surprised everyone. I surprised Jude, I surprised Jay. Because after we hung out with our friend, we were at the sort of leisure center hall.
Yeah.
Where they play basketball and all kinds of sport. After that, we were like dying, absolute famished, like the worst case
Your stomach
scenario.
is doing like
My stomach, there was a demon in my stomach. You hear me? But yeah, we went to the square. Jude got KFC. Jay got Burger King, and I got like two things from very different restaurants that are not even beside each other. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, I got a wrap of the day from McDonald's, and then two small burritos and a drink.
Small.
Damn.
Yeah.
Someone was hungry.
Small from Zambero.
All right.
I finished all of it. And now I'm sitting here. Why?
Just contemplating.
Why did
like,
you do that? So I can definitely relate to the
Impulsivity part, yeah.
impulsivity part.
Yeah. No, 100%. You know, it's something that I think when I told people that I had gotten diagnosed with, I'd gotten my formal ADHD diagnosis, a lot of people started saying to me, "Oh, I'm actually, you know, I'm gonna go get tested myself. I'm gonna go get my diagnosis myself and stuff like that." And a few people have messaged me since saying that they've gone the diagnosis. You know, so if like I think I don't think it's just with ADHD. If you think that you're living with a condition, you know, do tests. Try and avail of the tests publicly, obviously, if you can. And if you're able to, and you think it will bring you more kind of clarity on how your mind works or whatever, then go privately. You know, that's what I did. It was, I think, the best thing I could have done, because it allowed me then to begin availing of services like CBT and stuff like that, which now help me more in my day to day. So yeah, that's what I'd recommend to people.
I just have one question that has been on my mind.
Okay.
Because you mentioned that if you know that you have something, how do you go about applying or finding out that you have that thing? How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, so for I can mainly only speak about ADHD. So there's a few kind of private services that you can avail of, and they'll all be online. Just if you type in ADHD private, like it would all of the various kind of centers that all of the different kind of centers that would provide that service will pop up for you, and you're able to go in. Now, like, it was expensive enough, like, you know, it was €89 for an initial assessment. It was then €1,000 for the formal diagnosis in terms of doing the tests, and then there was another €59 for another piece, and now I'm going through CBT sessions and they're expensive as well. But like, look, I trust that I really did kind of question these people about their validity and stuff like that, their accreditation. Like, obviously I studied psychology myself. I knew, obviously they said like a local with Psychology Society of Ireland, but even me as someone who's only done their bachelor's in psychology, I can sign up to Psychology Society of Ireland. So I was like, what's your accreditation? And what's your qualifications? And really pushing them, you know? So that's helped me and reassured me, do you know what I mean, to that the service provider that I went with and the kind of therapy that I'm doing on the back end for it is really is really helpful. But yeah, I think going online, find the one that works for you, have conversations, you know, and I think you'll be able to find the right service for you.
Thank you.
Super.
That was very insightful.
Yeah, very insightful and yeah, very well needed. Yeah.
Super. No problem.
Okay, Leon. Lastly,
Okay.
do you have any questions, any thoughts, or any words of wisdom to the audience out there?
Words of wisdom. One of my favorite quotes from Maya Angelou. Do the best you can until you know better, then do better. That's the one thing. I think we're seeing a lot of kind of crap happening around the world, and I think we all just need to do better by each other. A question that I'd have for you is, what is your favorite chipper?
Oh, can I do Chinese?
Nah,
bro. Chipper.
Nah.
I don't really eat chipper.
Alright, what's your favorite Chinese?
7 spices.
Yeah.
Good boy. Has to be.
Good boy.
I've never had it.
Slaps every single time.
Right, you'll have to take me there someday. I'll have to try this out. The way you're reacting, I swear to God.
No problem, man. Good. Although I have to say one thing. It can be, especially when it's hot, fresh out the bag. The spice levels can be way
astronomical.
Astronomical. You have to eat with caution and precision as well. Okay, nah.
So it's got 7 spices, is it? Yeah.
7 spices.
We're gonna need some sponsorship.
Yeah, man.
Super.
Okay. That's all. Wait. Okay, that's all we have time for today. I would like to thank Leon, our guest, for taking time off his hella busy schedule to come chat to us about ADHD, Black and Irish, and the challenges he faces and how he overcomes them on a daily basis. I would like to thank my co-host Jay for initiating this beautiful and interesting And yeah, beautiful and interesting conversation. And for you listeners and viewers out there, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment on this video, comment your thoughts if you find it interesting. What are some of your questions you have for us? What are some of the, just comment anything, comment good job, or just like this video. On for our listeners on Spotify and on Apple or on any device or platform you might be listening to this podcast on, please give us a knife.
Bro, what? Well, you answer. No, I give you a what?
Wait.
Give you a what? I give you a knife. What do you want a knife for?
Oh my days.
Oh my god. Right. Try it again. Keep this in. Keep all this in.
For my food.
Oh yeah.
Give me knife for my food. Anyway.
Oh, you joke too much, man.
For our listeners on any listening platform, Apple Music, Spotify, or otherwise, please give us a nice review. Yeah, nice review. Nice review, 5 stars preferably, and yeah, just again like and follow us on every social media. And with that being said, don't limit your challenge your limits.